Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about Nejire Hado, um, just because some people in my Discord were asking to see her skills, so I figured I might as well do her showcase. I also personally believe that she is the second best character in the game overall. I'm considering making a tier list because I know people love those, but there are just so many factors to consider. Anyway, I guess we'll just start going over her skills. So, Nejire is really good at double S, I can tell you that for sure. Because she gets this damage buff when her waves hit enemies. Let's see. She's a really good buff character. I'm kind of going out of order of what I plan to talk about, but here, as you can see, she ups crit rate and crit damage at S. And she increases damage boost with vitality consumed on A. That's for herself, I believe. But anyway, at triple S, her crit rate goes up and her attack increases. So her crit rate when she's floating and her attack when she's on the ground. And then you have a flat damage buff and a flat damage buff for Q at triple S plus. These two ranks are really where her damage is going to be insane. Yes, so her skills, as I'll show you in a second, are mostly about shooting waves that kind of linger for a while. She can lock people down with them, which is really cool. She can also charge them up, so she's got a lot of versatility, but the main point in her skills is her waves. That's kind of her name, Hado. Yeah. The other thing that's important to talk about with her is this vitality. Using waves costs vitality, but through certain skills you can also get that back. You can get it refunded. And as you can see here, this wave blast also can reduce the cooldown of this one. And then, yeah, it tells you here, restores 15 vitality when it's enhanced, so that can help kind of keep her vitality up. But also, she deals more damage at higher vitality, so 40% extra at 70 or above, and then 15 at 50 or above. So keeping her vitality keeping it high is important. Her quirk skill is useful for that, because her quirk skill basically recharges vitality used with her other skills. So that's kind of the main thing, is balancing that vitality, keeping it as high as you can for a damage buff, and just shooting out tons of waves, I guess. Quick note for her support cards. This isn't exactly what I run on her, because Unconscious Monster's just here from All Might. But, well, before I come to cards, I guess, let me talk about talents, because that kind of plays a role. So, in her talents, you can see this left path recovers vitality when a wave combo lands. Wave combo is her basic attack. So that's good. That just, keeps vitality coming up. And then the two here, if you only have her at S, it kind of becomes a question of what you want to focus on. So This top one marks enemies and they take extra damage. This bottom one gives her damage increase to the entire party, essentially. I guess it's actually lower than her damage increase, but 15% when her vitality is above 70%. I personally at S would say top left or left and bottom right, because I play her almost entirely as a support character. Now, I have seen some people deal massive damage with her, but I have never come even close. So to me, she in terms of agency, she's more useful as a support than as your primary heavy hitter. For that reason, the cards I run on her are very often Rhodey. Again, Mount Lady is just on there because I switched some cards around, but I usually run Pinky, maybe Jiro, just somebody who gives more attack to allies, which means Kirogiri can be useful here. It's one of the rare times that you'll hear me say that. Sorry, over on the passive side. If I can find him right at the top. Because perfect dodges can buff allies' damage. So for me, that's really what Hado is all about, is buffing other people's damage. When I'm running her in agency. Some of these cards you see, Long Wool, and Flecked, these are on there because she's also incredible in Apex. So I like to, or Apex or War. So I like to have those to block out some damage. Just keep her alive for longer, right? So that's kind of my setup. That said, if you do want to focus a little bit on upping her damage, right? If you want to be the heavy hitter, like I've seen a lot of people pull that off with Hado, you're probably going to want to focus a little more on crit rate. So, Kendo, Snipe, I think those are useful. Maybe Mirio, because, he does give a damage increase, but the quirk skill recovery is possibly useful to just keep the vitality rolling in. And I would say possibly those two. And my brother advocates for, he doesn't necessarily say Dance with the Wind, but he uses her ultimate a lot when he plays as her. I usually don't, but if you can rack up some damage with her ultimate, this can be a good card too. So yeah, if you're going to be focusing on damage, you want a couple of those cards. I wouldn't necessarily focus on normal attack, so I wouldn't recommend Ectoplasm, because generally I think most of her damage comes from those waves, and wave combo kind of fills in the gaps, at least for me. One more note about her cards, because it's important. I don't have this card, number 105. What is it? Energetic Surge? I can't read it through the A, but I'm pretty sure that's what it says. I pulled for this one, didn't get it. This is, to me, one of the best EX cards in the game, because this right here, I think, is what's going to make her be able to do a lot of damage in agency. Because that Q, Wave Blast, has a 30% chance of coming back, and then it deals over double damage if you use it quickly again after. You pair that with her quirk skill, and you're not even spending a lot of vitality to do it. This card is honestly what you need if you want her to be a powerhouse. You don't need it broken through too high, because the only thing that really changes is this damage right here. It does get, it does get higher, obviously, but really the big thing to me is that 30% refresh rate. So I would recommend putting that card on her if you want to do like a damage build, right? Crystals are, generally kind of the same. Focus on offensive stats. Chips, offensive stats, right? Power is obviously good because she's a power unit, but crit and crit damage. So that's kind of the standard stuff. We talked about talents. So that brings me to showing her skills a little bit. And then I'll talk about the modes where I use her. So, as I mentioned, a lot of her skills are about, like, let's turn off assist, I don't need that anymore. About these waves. You can just litter them on the field. But she also has a lot of, it's a different strategy to play, I think, in Arena and Agency Assessment. She has this float skill, and she can use enhanced skills from there. So these deal a little more damage. You can charge up, get a nice animation, or you can just use the skill. Let's see. I think that's all of the... Oh, well, I didn't show this one standing. You can charge that too. So, yeah, those are kind of her skills, but there's a lot of strategy that comes into here, and I can't really necessarily give you the best damage output, like play loop, I guess, but this is a pretty cool one. If you dodge, so if you dodge out of this wave combo, let's see, 1, 2, 3, dodge, 4, dodge, 5. See, you can kind of, if you time it right, pretty much infinitely keep this combo going. So this is something I think would be really useful in groups in Agency Assessment. So that's pretty cool. You can also, obviously chain in other waves. When I do arena fights, you'll see my favorite combo with her. Keep in mind, when she's floating, she can dive in, and that deals some extra damage there. But she can also use so that ends the float, right? She can also attack and then float back up and use this attack. I'm not sure if she can float back up after that one. I guess I have unlimited power on, so that's not gonna give us all the answers we need here, right? But yeah, the cooldown's pretty quick, so she can just keep floating as long as you have vitality, and then end it off with that strike. So yeah, those are kind of her skills. Let's see them in action a little bit. So really quick to talk about why I think she's so good. If we're looking at all these modes, I mentioned Agency Assessment, Team Up really too. I don't think that she's the best, just because she's not, the heaviest hitter, but she's a great support. Also, when you get a high enough BP, you're gonna do just fine anywhere. Obviously any mode here is just kind of easy. But this versus, this is where Hado shines. I don't think for me, she's not particularly, like, special in any of the 3 limited events. But in Super Co-op and Warzone, you kind of get to the point. I've used all of my Super Co-ops today, but let's see if I can see people's teams. I don't think so. Okay, I can. I think you get to the point where anybody above you is going to have Hado. And that's because she is just, I mean, game breaking in these two modes. Sorry, I used all of my stamina for those two before I filmed this video, but if you see my other videos, she really like has great crowd control, great damage. She can fly to avoid a fair amount of damage. Like, she just is leagues above anybody else in those two modes. But Arena, she also does a pretty dang good job. So I'll do some arena fights and show her here as well. Oops. Pretty sure I just matched with the same person twice, and they beat me the same way twice, which is pretty... This says either something good about them or bad about me, right? But... I mean, I guess in my defense, they didn't beat me, but they beat Hado, and the way that I do these videos is show the arena fights for Hado, so, you know, but with my pride on the line here, I did win. I always like getting bots in my showcase videos because it really just gives me a chance to show the character's skills and make them look nice in arena. I know that I said Hado's really good, and she is. I maybe didn't show that entirely well, but you've got some good combos and things like that where they're kind of just repeatedly getting hit by waves, so she can use the ultimate really easily. And then her float status, I guess, is also really nice. doesn't quite refresh as fast in Arena, I think, so you have to time it a little bit better, but it is still very worthwhile. And I was testing this a little bit last fight, but this is a really good like combo too, to just jump around and throw those guys. So yeah, she's really cool. Oh, alright. And she can also, the waves can kind of serve as traps, which I like. When people are running, you know, in circles around the map, sometimes you can get away with like dropping a wave and they either run into it or they can't go to that position, right? And so you shrink the arena, I guess. So, yeah. Anyway, that's Nejire Hado and her skills, her gameplay a little bit. So sorry that I guess I can't give quite as definitive of a way to play her as some of the others, but she really is more versatile. I think she can be a great support. You know, rivals Momo on that front. As I mentioned, she can be a really good damage dealer, but you just have to build her a little bit differently than I do. I hope that I've given some tips on how to build either, but you know, let me know if you have any questions, and I hope you like Nejire. I definitely think she's worth pulling for. You know, even if you're not going to pull for that card, Warzone is... your Warzone game is going to completely change if you get Nejire Hado even just to S. So, if I were listing, I guess, all the characters that I think you should pull for, she's pretty high on the list. So, anyway, that's her. Thanks for watching, guys. Please, you know, leave a like, a comment, join the Discord if you want to chat or do permits or, I don't know, see any of the other games coming up. But otherwise, thank you for watching, and I look forward to talking to you next time and bringing you some more showcases. Thanks, guys.